preparing to scan. Before collecting measurements with your device, you should consider issues that will affect your measurements. You will have information about the scanned area. You will consider information such as historical background and soil structure of the searched area. You should check the battery and charge status of your product during scanning. You should perform the search with a fully charged device. Low battery level is one of the elements that affect measurements. There should not be any high-tension lines, main electric lines, cell towers, objects with high susceptibility, speakers, or objects like magnets within at least 50 meters diameter of the area measured. Person doing the scanning should not have any objects with high magnetic susceptibility on him or her. Heat, radio receivers, solar power, ground minerals, loose soil, salt, water, etc. may have negative effects on measurement results. In order to prevent your measurements from getting affected by magnetic fluctuations, it should always be performed within north-south axis. Each search should be performed from north to south and from south to north. Using a compass to find your direction is recommended. Starting scans from the north is recommended. Device should be held vertically against the ground and should not be shaken. Your device's height from the ground should be between 10 centimeters and 15 centimeters, and this level of height should be maintained throughout the collection of measurements. Do not lift or lower your device during each signal measurement. At least 10 signal pulses and 10 search rows, in other words 3 meters to 3 meters, is recommended for measurement size. A point you doubt in the measurement area should remain in the center of the measurement you perform. If the metal or cavity data is placed on the sides in the graphics collected, measurements should be repeated by centering this data. Wide measurements should be collected when search is performed on an unknown area. For example, search should be performed with 20 signals to 20 rows. Be attentive to keep 30 centimeters between each signal pulse count and 30 centimeters between each search row. You should perform measurements relatively in wider areas depending on the size of the area measured. If you are searching for large objects such as graves or rooms, you may increase the pulse intervals, for example, keeping 50 centimeters between each signal. If you are searching for smaller objects, such as between 20 to 30 centimeters, you should increase the frequency of signal pulse intervals. If a buried object remains under soil for longer amounts of time, the magnetic field it will produce will be higher, and it could be detected easier. You should check the target at least twice by performing the search in the same manner. More measurements will help eliminate minerals and correct any errors, if any. More control scans performed on a potential object, the better your decision will be about whether the item is a real object. You may perform zigzag or parallel scans. If you have completed a scan line, the next one should be performed next to it. Measurement device should not be turned between rows.
Initial setup. To start using Discovery, you have to complete the initial setup. This setup allows you to personalize your product. In 7-step setup screen, select the option you want to select with the right and left buttons and press the OK button. Language. Select the display language that you want to use your device in. It will skip to the next level when you press the OK button. Region. Select the region that you use your device in. This selection will enable you to get the hour, date, and location information of your area. City, time zone. Select the city that you use your device in. If you can't find your city, select the city closest to the time zone in your area. Distance unit. Select the unit of distance you want to use on your device. You can choose either metric or imperial. Menu theme. Select the menu and color theme that you want to use in menu appearance. 3D screen background. select the background color you want to use when scanning and performing the 3D graphical analysis of the scan result. GPS. You can turn the built-in GPS locator on and off in your device. GPS allows you to obtain information such as time, date, location in your area. The initial setup is completed. Optionally, you can change the selections you made in the initial setup from the device menu after the device setup is ended. You can start using your device. Buttons and settings. Buttons on the device. Arrow buttons to navigate in the menu. OK button in the menu selection. Back button used in returning. Zoom in and out buttons, which you will use to examine the 3D graph in more detail. Mode button, which allows you to switch to different menus such as depth and detail in 3D graphs analysis. Power button that allows you to turn on and off your device. Start button, located under the handle of the device for manual measurements. On the right side of your device is the headphone jack. And on the left is the charging jack. Only charge your device with the included charging adapter. The battery charging lamp on the main body will flash red while your device is charging. If your battery is fully charged, it will turn to stationary red light. You can see the battery level of your device on the screen. In the lower left part of the device, there is a round adjustment ring for adjusting the sensor length. You can adjust the length of your telescopic sensor to suit your height and then use the device. The General Settings section of your device. Activation. To activate the external mobile applications of your device, read the square code on the screen or enter the numbers on the screen. The numbers on the screen are also the identification number of the product. Region Settings. In this menu, you can change the device display language, the unit of measurement you use, and the time zone. Appearance. You can change the device menu theme and the background color of the 3D graph review screen. Sound. You can adjust the volume of the device and turn on/off the vibration function. Device Settings. Factory Reset. In this menu, you can delete the stored data on your device or restore the factory settings. If you restore to the factory settings or clear the stored data, all your settings will be lost and you cannot restore them. Hardware information. You can view hardware information such as the sensor and processor used in your device, and information such as memory and processor temperature level. Software information. You can see the version and update information of GTOS software specially developed for discovery. Help. You can find the user manual, user videos, and answers to problems in this section. 3D ground scan settings. 3D ground scanning allows you to create 3D graphs based on whether you can scan a specific area. There are two options in the ground scanning function, automatic and manual. You do not need to press any button in automatic scanning for each number of signal pulses entered, and you need to press the start button for each signal in manual scanning. Auto scan and pre-scan settings in manual scan. When you select automatic ground scan, you will be directed to the settings you need to make before the search. Respectively, measurement type. You must choose the number of steps or meters. In the step option, you have to enter step numbers in step and line options. For example, 5 steps, 5 rows. In the meter option, you must enter in meters in step and line options. For example, 5 meters line, 5 meters row. Scanning type. You can scan in zigzag or parallel. You should start scanning from the start point and finish at the end point, as shown in the graph. When the number of signal pulses entered for each row is complete, you should proceed to the next scan row. The measuring tool should not be turned when you move to the next row. Line. You must enter the row size of the search area in meters or steps according to the unit you have selected in the measurement type section. Depending on the number of signal pulses you have entered, you should go to the next scan row when the signal pulses are over. Step. You must enter the row size of the search area in meters or steps according to the unit you have selected in the measurement type section. Target type. You can select 3 different search objectives: small, general, and tunnel, according to the purpose of your screening. Small should be selected if your target is small objects. In the small option, each scan signal range should be 15 to 20 centimeters. You can select the general scan, such as normal object, space, structure. In this option, your scan signal range should be between 25 and 35 centimeters. You can select the tunnel option for your scans covering large areas such as tunnel, room, and grave. In this option, you can search at 50 centimeter intervals. For example, if you select 10 signal steps and select small as the target type, you will scan with a distance of 30 centimeters each. You will have created a scanning line of 300 centimeters or 3 meters. Step duration. If you want the device to wait between each signal pulse, you can select not less than 0.8 seconds. When you increase the time, the waiting time will increase. This feature is activated in the automatic search option. Starting point. You can adjust your scanning starting point by starting at the bottom right or bottom left corner. To do this, you must select left or right from the starting point. If you start searching from the bottom left corner, you should continue with the next scan row on your right. If your selection is in the bottom right corner, you should continue with your next scan row on your left. After you have made all the settings, you can start scanning by pressing the Confirm button. 3D ground scanning. Depending on the settings you made before the search, the 3D ground scan will begin. On the right side of the scan screen, you will see the settings you made before scanning. If your selection is manual mode, you must press the Start button on the front handle for each signal step. If your selection is automatic mode, you will be directed to press the Start button when the number of signal steps entered for each sequence is complete. You must do this for each scan line. During scanning, you will see colors such as green, red, yellow, and blue, depending on the measurements you have taken. All metallic objects and objects with high magnetic effect are mostly red. Some are orange. Underground cavities, filled soils, cavities are blue. You can see the soil as green without any changes and anomalies. You can see mineral soils and objects with a relatively low magnetic effect as yellow and orange. After the scan, you can determine this data in detail on the analysis screen. If you want to end the search before the number of signal steps entered and the line row is completed, you must press the Back button on the device. Press Back, and the device will ask you if you want to end the search. If you select No, you can continue your search from where you left off. Select Yes, and your search will end and you will be directed to the 3D viewer screen. To obtain regular and accurate data, you must complete the number of signal steps and the number of lines entered. 3D monitor and graphical analysis. Your device will direct you to the screen after scanning, so you can examine the graphics you have obtained with three-dimensional ground scanning in detail. On this screen, you will see 3D graphics of the data you have collected in the center. The color bar on the right gives information about the soil that was scanned. In the 3D viewer function, the buttons on the device have some functions. These are: with Mode button, you can switch between different types of analysis. With Up, Down, Left, Right direction buttons, you can turn the graph up, down, left, and right, move the graph, and go through each square in the Details page. With Zoom In and Zoom Out buttons, You can make the graph bigger or smaller to examine in detail. With OK button, you can turn on and off the grid on the graph. Squares on this grid correspond to each of your search signals. Back button allows you to go back to the main screen from 3D Viewer function. Start button allows you to display your graph as wireframe. This view allows you to analyze the data in more detailed lines. There are 4 different graph analysis features on the 3D Viewer function. 3D rotation. You can use the direction buttons on the device to rotate your graph left, right, and up, down. This way, you can see your graphic from different angles. 3D pan. You can examine your graph and the colors closely by zooming in. You can move the graph left and right, up and down with the direction buttons and go through the graph. Scanning details. You can see numerical values of your data and get information about depth by choosing type of soil. You can go around the graph with direction buttons and examine the point details. Depth information. You can find out the general depth information of the measurement and see the start and end points of ground and other variables. The colors on the graph represent the following: red, metallic objects and objects with high magnetic effect; blue, filled dirt, tunnels and cavities in the underground; green, standard soil that does not have any magnetic effects; orange and yellow, mineral substances, mineral soil, and objects that have relatively low magnetic effect. Metal detection and metal-mineral differentiation. Metallic objects have a distinct shape, while minerals usually have a messy and scattered appearance. Metallic objects have red color. Mineral substances are usually yellow and orange. The most important property of metallic objects that distinguishes them from minerals is that there is a significant numerical difference between them and soil in the collected data. In order to see these numerical values, you have to switch to the Scanning Details feature in the 3D Viewer function. You can see soil balance value and numerical values of the selected area in the top bar when you go around the graph with direction buttons. There must be an increase of at least 15 units between the soil, which is shown with green on the graph, and metallic objects which are shown with red. For example, if the level of soil is 150, there should be a numerical value of at least 165 to 170 in order to be a metallic object present. If there is a difference of a couple of units, this data indicates mineral. A few units of increase are also possible for new objects that have less magnetic effect and have not been underground for too long. If there is a big difference between the soil and object that has magnetic effect, there is a great possibility of valueless metal. For example, when the level of soil is 80 units and magnetic object is 200 units. Metallic objects that have been buried underground for a longer period of time can be detected more easily. Precious materials such as gold or silver can be detected only if they were buried together with objects that have high magnetic effect. In order to see whether the data represents a real object or not, more than one measurement should be performed in the same spot, and all of them should result similarly. Cavity detection. Artificially created underground cavities such as tunnels, chambers, tombs are seen as blue color in the graphic. In the event of any dents or soil filled in the underground, the data will be light blue, turquoise, or light green. What you are searching for must have a distinctive shape and form. For example, if you are searching for a structure that resembles a tomb, the blue area on the graph should be rectangular and the size of a tomb. In order to see this numerical value, you should switch to the Scanning Details feature in 3D Viewer function. When you go around the graph with direction buttons, you can see the soil balance value and numerical value of the selected point on the top bar. There must be a decrease of at least 15 points between the soil which is shown with green and grounds which are shown with blue. For example, if soil level is 150, then the ground should have a value of 135 to 130. If there is a difference of a few units, this data indicates ground caused by rocks or superficial soil variations. Depth calculation. You can get approximate information about real objects, metallic objects, or the depths of underground grounds with the calculations. Depth calculations may vary depending on type of soil or objects staying underground for a very long period of time. You must switch to scanning details in 3D Viewer function. You must select the type of soil according to the area you are working on from the depth information screen. You can select the type of soil using zoom in and zoom out buttons. For example, if the area you are working on is completely rocky, choose Concrete. If it is stony, choose Stony. If it is non-mineral, field-like, choose Light Mineral. If it has high mineral concentrations, choose High Mineral. If you have no information or estimations about the type of soil, you can make several calculations in different options and compare them for a more accurate calculation. After you select the type of soil, you will see depth information for each point on the top bar as you go around the graph with direction buttons. In order to see total depth information, you will have to switch to Depth Information in the 3D Viewer function. You can move the depth level indicator up and down with zoom in and zoom out buttons on this screen. You can see the total depth information on the top bar. Numbers on the graph show meters or feet. If there are no objects with magnetic effect or different abnormalities in your calculations, the depth information you see will be 0 or very low numbers. As seen on the sample graph, the metallic object has 10.51 written on it. This means the depth of the metallic object is 10.51 meters, according to light mineral soil. Data on depth information are created with certain calculations. These are to give you approximate information. The information is not exact or binding. Live scanning. Live scanning means search modes with 3 different search options that allow you to make fast, 2-dimensional point detections. With live scanning, you can see objects with magnetic effect, metallic objects, grounds, and structures buried underground faster. On live scanning, you can see all metallic objects and most of the objects that have magnetic effect with red, and some objects that have magnetic effect with orange. Tunnels, filled dirt, and cavities underground with blue. Soil that had no changes or anomalies with green. Mineral soil and objects that have relatively low magnetic effect are yellow and orange. Additionally, you can see soil balance values and numerical values of instant data on the top left corner. With Dynamic Graph option, you can see objects with magnetic effect, metallic objects, grounds, and structures faster, like the live screening option. In Dynamic Graph option, your device automatically detects the level of soil on your first scan and calculates your scanning according to this level. If you press the OK button on your device during scanning, the device will instantly update the soil level and you can carry on scanning with this new level of soil. Pinpoint option allows you to make point detections. You can use Pinpoint option to determine the exact location of the metallic or magnetic effect objects you have detected. The color of the graph will change from green to red as you approach the target in pinpoint mode. A proper red color indicates that you are in the highest magnetic effect zone. This means you are close to the object. Resistivity scanning. Calibration. Resistivity scanning allows you to find large metals, large structures such as tunnels, chambers, caves. Resistivity scanning has 2 different search modes as automatic and manual. Warning! Before you start resistivity scanning, you must attach the conducting probes and wires. Absolutely do not attach wires to the sockets after the scanning begins. Resistivity scanning has the output power of 110 volts. Do not touch the metal parts with your bare hands during the scanning. This may cause serious injuries. Calibration. Wet soil can cause mistaking in your operation's resistivity scanning. In order to minimize the rate of mistaking, you must perform soil calibration. For calibration settings, arrange the probes 1 to 2 meters apart and place 2 conducting probes on the ground. Place the probes in ground free of any metal, cavities, or water. Attach the conducting wires which come with your device to the probes on the other ends to any line on your device, for example, to the A-line output sockets number 1 and 2. Select the calibration object in the Resistivity scan menu. Select a line on which you have attached the probes and select Calibration. The calibration should now be completed. The data will be fixed as soil level. In automatic search or manual search modes, you can scan with the obtained calibration value. You will need to redo the calibration in each different scan or area. For deleting the calibration and returning to the interval of the device on manufacturer, select the Reset option on the calibration menu. Therefore, the calibration values of the device will be reset to factory defaults. Resistivity scanning, automatic mode. You can use resistivity mode for large metals and large-scale searches such as tunnels, caves, water, underground structures. You cannot detect small objects with resistivity search mode. Before starting automatic mode resistivity scanning, place the 4 conductive probes which come with your device to the ground, forming a square. Arrange the distance between the 2 probes according to the depth you want to scan. Your scan depth is equal to about half the distance between the 2 probes. Attach 4 conductive wires which come with your device to the output sockets of your device and the other ends to the conducting probes. Then select Automatic Mode on Device menu. You will need to press the OK button on your device to start scanning. When you press the OK button, search will be initiated automatically between 4 probes. If you want to stop the scanning for any reason, press Back button. After the scanning is completed, you can see the graphic results and numerical values on the right side of the screen about the measurements you have taken. You can rotate this graph left, right, up, and down with the direction buttons on the device. You can switch to wire cage view with the Start button in the front part of the device. The colors on the graph correspond to green, soil, blue, ground, light blue, water, yellow, mineral, red, metal. Also, the data on the right show the results perceived on the lines after scanning. Resistivity scanning, manual mode. Manual mode, before starting the resistivity scan, place the 2 supplied conductive probes in parallel with the ground. Adjust the distance between the probes according to the depth you want to scan. Your scan depth is equal to the average half of the distance between the 2 probes. Connect the 2 supplied conductive wires to any of the output sockets on your device, and the other ends to the conductive probes. For example, connect to output sockets 1 and 2 with line A. Select Manual Mode from the Device menu. Select the line where conductive probes are installed. The scan will begin. After the scan, you will see the measurement result graphically and numerically on the device screen. Open a save file. You can save a large number of measurements that you took to your device. You can save measurements in 2 different options, 3D ground scanning and resistivity scanning. There are 3 different options in the Save File Open menu. 3D ground scan files, favorite scan files, resistivity scan files. 3D ground scan recorded files are sorted in order of recording. You can scroll through the recorded files with up-down arrow buttons. On the right, you can see a preview of your scan when switching between saved files. Press the Mode button on your device to add your recorded files to the favorite list. Press Mode button again to remove them from the favorite list. To delete your saved files, you can delete them using the Delete option from the menu on the right. Press the OK button on the device to open the Save Scan file. You can view the saved scans that you added to the favorite list from the Favorite Scans menu. Only scans you add to the favorite list appear in this menu. In the Resistivity Scans menu, you can see and delete only the resistivity scans. To view the resistivity scans, press the OK button on the scan you wish to turn on.